answer our questions. Director Hibbard, we appreciate your being here as well for that very same reason. Ms. Childress, would you please take the roll?
Representative Alman, Representative Angelos. Here. Representative Haroldson.
Here.
Representative Pendergraft.
Here.
Representative Sherwood.
Here.
Representative Smith.
Here.
Chairman Bear.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right, we're probably going to be able to get this done in about an hour. We're here today to finish up our work from last night. And I'd like the team to be able to ask questions of Ms. Martineau now that we've had the data and we've had an opportunity to peruse it for the evening. We've divided the workload up. And I just want to remind everybody of how the workflow will go this afternoon. We will be presenting this afternoon upon the recess ending. And so the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to give a brief introduction. And because we're simply presenting the Senate bill, I want to give the body an opportunity to see where the differences really are so they can be looking for those as they go through the Senate bill. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes introducing where we're at financially, and then based on amendments, where big differences are. So I've got about 1.25 pages of information I'm going to share with the body about differences between the House Bill 1 and Senate File 1. And so after I've completed that, we'll go right into page 1, which will be Speaker Pro Tem Haroldson. He'll complete that entire page, and we'll get to the questions today in that same manner. And then page 2, I believe we have Vice Chairman Pendergraft. Page 3, we have Representative Angelos. Page 4, and I'm changing this from my comments yesterday. Page 4, from the top of the page down to the beginning of the 300 section, but not including any of the 300 section, will be Representative Alamand. From the 300 section down to the end of the related, which is on page 5, will be Representative Smith. And then all the unrelated, which is about the middle of page 5 to the very end, will be Representative Sherwood. Ms. Martineau has graciously gone through and highlighted in blue on your worksheet all of the TRP. And I will, when I finish my remarks about the differences, I'll go ahead and describe the TRP differences and changes by the Senate. So you all will be able to skip all of those blue highlighted lines as you do your description. Okay, before we get into questions, Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would it be appropriate to have someone, maybe Representative Haroldson, as he's going first, help the body understand how to read the document?
Yeah, that'd be great. And or you can help him with that too, if you'd like. And that's great suggestion. And I do believe we did get this for the entire body, right? Everybody's got this. Is this available electronically for the public?
Mr. Chairman, no, I do not believe it's available for the public.
Okay.
We do have a copy with the blues for the chamber. And I will note, Representative Pendergraft did identify one of our errors. We missed agency 42, which was TRP only.
Okay, so we'll have him mention that when he gets to his portion. And so maybe we make a note of this, Director Richards, for the future. If we get to this part, we try to get it up there electronically for the public. But other than that, we'll get ourselves through it. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and start with the first page. And any questions? Representative Haroldson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I'm going to just dominate all the time and just ask a lot of questions right now. So I do believe the identicals I'm good on. I get it. I have a clear understanding. Obviously, we've already kind of chewed through those. And then going into Office of the Governor 001, the local cybersecurity and grant program matching funds from general fund, adding that footnote 5. I think I got a pretty good knowledge of that, and I kind of tied into that. And then what I've done is I've kind of looked at a little bit of what this is. The TRP is good. Can you just dive a little deeper, Ms. Martineau, on I know the Secretary of State's, I'm good there, but just that Office of, it'd be that 328 Governor's Rec Restoration section. Can you just give me a little bit more context on that 6.795 mil and the 20 of federal funds?
Ms. Martineau?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Representative Haroldson, do you want me to give you just the big dollar numbers or even the little ones?
Even the little ones, just give me
Perfect.
kind of a 30,000 on that. And then we
So-
can slide into 10,000.
It was a restoration of about 8 of those requests, about $100,000 for the customer relation management software maintenance, which was denied by JAC, skipping TRP, of course. It was the $46,000 for the Commission on Uniform Law, their membership dues, $14,000 general fund and federal fund that was for the reclassification of a critical infrastructure analyst, $6,000 general fund again, and federal funds for the overtime or on-call funding for employees that were serving as those duty officers. The bulk of it is $3 million, which is a restoration for a critical infrastructure protection project that was denied by JAC, $2.5 million for the RAVE emergency alerting system, also denied by JAC, as well as $1 million for the Federal Natural Resource Policy account, just a deposit into that account. There was also the funding for the $108,000 for this state and local grant, but as you had noted, that was because there's also a footnote, so you're okay with that one. But those are the items that were restored in this agency.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Moving on, state auditor, the 2 million was just the reimbursement of Game and Fish for those licenses. Okay, and then the state treasurer, it doesn't say FTE in here, but was that a restoration of an FTE? I'm getting a head shake from Don behind you.
No, Mr. Chairman, that actually is an agency 72 was the fourth investment analyst.
Okay.
Here, the restoration was the $320,000 for investment manager due diligence, and the other items were TRP.
Okay.
Ms. Martin, now on back to the TRP, in my mind, the total governor's rec was 8 million and JAC was at 4 million. But can you give me more specific numbers for those two?
Of course. Let me get to that number. I believe it's about $3 million of that was general funds, but let me confirm that. Because it's merged into the bigger table, it's a bit harder to identify immediately. I wasn't incorrect. $3.3 million was general fund, $182,000 was federal funds, and $609,000 was other funds or a mix thereof for a total of $4 million.
And then the governor's rec,
The governor's rec is just double that, so it was the $8 million or $8.2 million.
and I didn't hear the other funds now.
It's a combination of other funds, including SR, internal service funds, enterprise funds. Do you want me to break those out as well?
Please.
Excellent.
No, just the all other funds.
Oh, all of their funds combined was $609,000. And I'm rounding. If you would like the specific amount, I can give you that. But
That's close enough. Yep. That's close enough.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Thank you, Ms. Marnow. So moving into A&I, we've got obviously the deleting of those footnotes of those corrections, which then will revert back. So we don't have 1 year vehicles, we've got 2 and so on and so forth. Same as well with the elimination of that compensation adjustment because that's now in the Mass 2024 rebase for incomes. And then obviously stormwater fees, that 18,000 for that. And then down below are those FTEs for the buildings here in Cheyenne. Okay. And then TRP. And then the state fair, we're adding 2 more FTEs into the state fair. But the question I had is, we okayed in an amendment the ice rink, the concrete and everything there. We gave them the spending authority for that. How does that work in here? And is that the Williams amendment? And can you kind of, and maybe there was only like 200 amendments, so I'm still trying to keep them all straight in my mind.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that's in capital construction.
Okay,
And
thank
I
you.
believe that was an amendment on that bill, not necessarily in this bill, so there should be no interaction.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Okay, then moving on. Attorney General's office. So talk to me about this shift the $3 million for that, Internet Crimes Against Children's, the ICAC team. I know that we had a lien amendment on that. Kind of explain that to me too, if you could just, I didn't catch it quite last night when we were running through it.
Mr. Chairman, the Senate also has Senate File number 85, also known as the Raven Act, sponsored by Majority Floor Leader Nethercott. And so what happened was they removed the funding entirely and the footnote in the Senate position. And the House position is to actually just add the words, this appropriation shall not be effective if 2026 Senate File 85 is enacted into law. So the difference between the positions is, do you want the footnote? And then if you want the footnote, do you want to take the lien amendment to add that language about the Senate File 85?
Thank you.
Basically, two horses in the race,
Yep.
but the one
Yep.
horse is almost double the other.
Yeah. Yep.
No Jack News. Now, was that $3,000 re-entered in somewhere later? I didn't notice it.
Mr. Chairman, the $3 million for the Internet Crimes Against Children is not reintroduced in the Senate position.
Representative Haroldson, anything else on page one?
I'm almost there. So DEQ. I've got those increases and what we put back in there were good. But last night I was taking notes and I put down 22 something and then I never finished it. And I'm not sure, and those are those haunting moments for me where I'm like, I started writing for a reason, but my brain can't tell me why.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Haroldson, I believe you're remembering House Second Reading 22 Geringer,
Okay.
which
that's it.
also restored the Air Quality Division's $500,000 SR for the NSR modeling and permitting.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, and then the 3 entry-level bankers, yep. Byron's had 1 position, ours and the Senate's is a 3 position. 600,000 for the PSC's computer software upgrade. And then in that 141, 190, a majority that's going to be TRP, but that $49,000 is also included in there for the trailers for the Trails program, correct? Okay. And then the state construction department, this would this be where we would see that concrete for state fair? I don't see an amendment there. It's a difference.
Mr. Chairman, that is still in the state capital construction bill,
Oh, it's
Which is-
in there. Okay.
which is not a part of the budget.
I know. I should know that. Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. Okay. And then
Ms.
state engineer, I
Martinow,
understand.
on that
Something
line,
good.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ms. Martinow, on that line, what is this increase? I don't recall Governor's Rec of 141,000 for state and parks and recreational resources.
Mr. Chairman, that's a combination of the TRP. It is also inclusive of, I believe, the $49,000 that Representative Haroldson noted for the Trails program. And that's it. There was quite a bit of TRP in that agency, sir.
Right. Please
Okay,
proceed.
And I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else have questions on page one? Seeing none, we'll go to page 2. And we'll lead off with Vice Chairman Pennick.
Well, there's obviously the 13 million that was restored. And if I read this right, basically what the Senate did was give them a little bit more leverage on how that money is used. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraph, they just added the money back and left the footnote alone. All they did with the footnote was increase the amount, so it captured the total amount. The purposes of the footnote remain the same.
Okay. Fire prevention and geological safety are both TRP. They took out the 5 million for highway maintenance and highway patrol personnel because they basically just gave a raise to everybody, so they deleted that out. I don't have a note here on the 161,740, which is my fault because I had it somewhere.
Ms. Martinow, could you enlighten us on the $161,740 on Department of Transportation?
Oh, that's TRP.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Representative Pendergraft. That is a lot of TRP in the Wyoming Department of Transportation.
Okay. So that one could actually be blue too, correct?
Technically, yes, sir.
Thank you. I was looking at the wrong one. It has notes on the other paper. So Director's Office, this was the nurses pilot program, which they deleted because they're giving everybody a raise. When they went to Governor's Rec, they took out the 9,950. And then Senator Driscoll put it back in third reading, and that's the DD waiver money. I guess their note has the wait list on there, and we kind of moved all of ours to the other side, correct?
No, it's more of a 60-40 split, I believe, on our side versus a 50-50 split.
Okay, which is it?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraft, I agree. I don't know the exact split, but your side put more of that money that would have gone to waitlist into the rate provider increases in 4 instead. We did keep both of those footnotes, as was the JAC position.
Public health, when they went back to the rec, they took out 203,000 that we had added, and then they put it back in. So there's a net gain. House bill, or excuse me, Senate File 10 that we talked about just the other day, we added the second horse here, the 5 million. I think I got that down. The numbers get awfully big, obviously, with the 2 FTEs, long care. These people, if I remember correctly, are basically screening Medicaid. So they gave them the other 2. That next line there under assistance and services, they deleted our footnote. Our footnote had said, if you don't follow the rules, you're in trouble. Anything to add to that, maybe?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraft, they simply had removed any footnote that was from JAC alone and wasn't in the 2024 budget bill or part of governor's recommendation. So this just was taken out as a part of that standard they had established for the Senate amendment.
So they got rid of our sideboards.
Representative Sherwood.
Thank you. Just because the Department of Health is quite a large agency, do we have a gap number in terms of Senate's position, House position specific to this agency?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Martinow, please.
it's about $8.4 million in general funds and roughly $2.3 million in federal funds, primarily due to the IT system modernization, which was $3.1 million. There is a $40,000 TRP, $3.4 million for the SNAP education program, and again, the $1.7 million federal funds and general funds to restore the Sunbucks program and that 1 FTE. Those are the primary differences between the House and the Senate currently for 049.
And Ms.
For Health, apologies. I thought,
Representative Sherwood, that is in my synopsis. When I open this up, I'll be sharing that with the body.
Mr. Chairman, as a clarification, did you want Agency 49 Department of Family Services or did you want Department of Health?
Department of Health.
Thank you. Actually, I did have both would be helpful. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I can also do the Department of Health. Again, these are outside of TRP. The major differences are roughly, my computer doesn't freeze up on me. And I'm not going to include the preschool ECA since you restored that as well. About $28 million in general funds and about $29 million in federal funds. I believe I will have to true those numbers up, but this is primarily attributed to $1.7 million for behavioral health rate rebasing, federal funds and general funds, $8.5 million general and federal funds for critical access hospitals to maintain labor and delivery services, $672,000 general and federal funds for the Medicaid home health rates, $25.2 $2.5 million general fund and federal funds for the increases to, again, helping with labor and delivery, $11.2 million general fund and $16.3 million federal fund for community choices waivers, and then $2.9 million for the lab services. The $10.2 million for preschool ECA was restored as well by Representative Klauston in his amendment.
Okay, thank you, but I was not able to catch all that. Could you slip me a memo or something with those numbers? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraph, I would be happy to send that email.
Okay, moving on down my list, DFS. They put the Sunbucks back in and the FTE to manage that. Livestock Board, they disposed of our precious metal ear tags. And the rest is all TRP.
Any other questions on page 2? Seeing none, please proceed to page 3. Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just going through this, some of it's pretty obvious. Agency 39 they amended the footnote. They added back in the $3 million. We gave them $8 million for invasive grasses. They added back in the original. They were just restored that. Same thing on the 10,000 for the fire restoration. I want to say it was 29 million, and we brought it back down to 19 million. So total restored of 13 million. Fire prevention, Agency 41, fire prevention and electrical safety. That was just TRP. Geological survey restores the governor's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, are we on page 2 or page 3? I want to make sure I'm not.
Page 3.
Sorry. Oh,
Kindly.
I really got you screwed.
I was
didn't
struggling to catch up.
That was me. Sorry. That's my fault. Okay, let's start at Agency 57, Community College Commission. How's that? Good. Just going through this, they deleted all the footnote that we had put in, and then I see basically added it back in. So it almost matches the House position. Am I correct on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Representative Angelos, you are correct.
I don't see any even difference. Okay. Down on Agency 60, Office of State Land and Investments, we had put in that, so this is the 390,000 for firefighter paid leave and hazard pay. It's in our bill HB 36. They just stripped it out because that was not in the governor's rec. So we can explain that. And then they restored the governor's rec of 2 fire modules. Is that correct? We have that in our bill. Do you remember what bill that was? HB
36.
36?
Is it in 36 as well? Okay. I couldn't remember if those were the 2 that were separate. Section 328.
TRP. Blue means TRP.
Yeah, I know it does. So that's just, I'm just on the next one. So basically we have a bill that covers all that. They just put it back in and restored governor's rec. 66 is TRP. Under 67, University of Wyoming, they just put it all the way back to governor's rec. They did delete our footnote explaining no funds for elective abortions for students or group health insurance provides coverage for elective abortions. They deleted footnote 2, which shall not use any funds for Wyoming public media. They restored the funding for that. The $40 million reduction to the block grant, they restored that and deleted all the language and which colleges that would affect. They took away the financial administration audit over the high bay or Center of Innovation of Flow. I see that. They deleted that $100,000, so that's the difference. They deleted footnote number 6 specifying that $6 million is for equipment and construction expenditures. We kind of put some bounds on that CTE. They just deleted that. And then down on endowment and matching, they restored the $12,500,000 and then took the governor's wording and verbiage for that. On section 328, they restore the governor's recommendation by the full 60,933,867. We did restore the $6 million for athletics. And then moving down, we're on enhanced oil recovery.
We also we also brought back $20 million on the block grant.
You're right. We brought back $20 million in the block grant. That was the Bear Amendment.
Right.
Thank you.
If you don't mind me interrupting.
Sure.
Representative Angelos, I'd like to go back to community college just for a second. Well, we had covered Wyoming Public Media, but I can't tell from here what the status of Wyoming Public Television is up in the community college section. I assume Governor's Rec would have replaced the 6 million, I'm sorry, 3 million for federal funds that were lost and 3.6 million for improvements on infrastructure. So I'm trying to recall our position now. I think we rejected all those changes that are correct. So we only have the base budget of 3 million for PBS. So there's a difference of 6.6 million in that area.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct, and exactly as those numbers, $3 million for operations and $3.6 million for modernization were restored. I would add the JAC position was to add the 290,000 SR to the Wyoming Public Television Endowment's interest, and that was left alone. So the 3.6 million is what they restored, which is different between your two positions.
Okay. And that's
Mr.
not.
Chairman.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to clarify. So they did not put the 290,000 in their
Spending authority.
spending authority. They did not put that in
They,
there.
Mr. Chairman, pardon me, Representative Angelos, they left that alone because that was what we considered a budget, kind of during budget hearings, staff technical of that was just raised that they could have had up to that amount. So they just left it at JAC's position.
At JAC's position?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, which was to include that in the budget.
So both House and Senate have the.
Does have that in there, sir.
And is I'm trying to remember on here, this sheet that covers the summary of differences does not include the Wyoming Public Television portion. Is that right?
No, it does not because it was below a threshold.
Okay, thank you. Representative Angelos, please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Martineau, we're down on retirement system, so Agency 72. I believe that's just the position that will be paid, that was restored, that will be paid out of the retirement system funding, correct?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Angelos, yes, part of that funding is for the fourth investment analyst. It also includes funding for their reclassification request that they had, about $408,000, as well as about $100,000 for the workflow and contract management software. So that $700,000 is not just for one position. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Could, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Martineau, can you give me the breakdown again, the 400?
$408,000 of pension fund or PF was for a reclassification of the different investment positions. That was their ask. The $193,000 is for the one position, the fourth investment analyst, and $100,000 is for their investment workflow and control management software.
Thank you. All right, Agency 77 is Enterprise Technology and Services. That was 4.1 million. They specified, so 875,000 was the Gov's Rec for cloud services. And then the 4.1 million in general funds and 1.9 in other funds was, can you break that down? What was that again?
Of course, Mr. Chairman, Representative Angelos, it is $620,000 general fund for the centralized citizens authentication, $3.3 million general fund for the enterprise platform. I'm skipping TRP, ma'am. $875,000, as you mentioned, for the cloud services of internal service funds, $1 million of internal service funds for communication and network flow support services, and then the remainder is TRP.
Would you be able to get me kind of a little breakdown on that?
I can
Okay,
do that.
that would
I
be
can-
great. Thank you. All right, sorry, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Martin, we're gonna skip Department 80 or Agency 80, it's just TRP. On Agency 85, the Wyoming Business Council, they adopted the full Govs Rec, which we had specified that $2 million in general fund be administered by the state budget department. They just went back to Govs Rec. They restored the full department. We have the Geringer amendment that is 1 year of funding and ends on June 2027. So I just want to, do you have a total on the Geringer amendment?
9.8 million.
9.8? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And then we're going to jump down to Agency 91 was Wyoming Stable Token. We denied the Govs Rec of giving them a little over 8 million to run for the next couple of years. They deleted our footnote. We had said that they could keep any funds that had rolled over or that would have, we didn't allow those to revert. And then we were going to allow them, if we were going to allow them to use their own funding, if whatever revenue that they made to, am I saying that right? Maybe you could eloquently put that for me.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Angelos, you are saying that correctly. So initially you had denied the governor's recommendation, which is $8 million general fund. You had allowed them to carry forward those funds in section 303D, and then you added section 319, which said that their prioritization for how they could expend their own earnings would allow them to basically use that for administration and operation up to the $8 million. The Senate position was to just give them the $8 million general fund, let them keep the 303D carry forward because that was an agency ask during budget hearings, and then completely or delete entirely section 319 because they wouldn't need that prioritization any longer if they had general funds.
So, Ms. Martinell, I'm going to call that carry forward a reversion that we, so, I mean, when we were talking to them at the time, it was 3.8 million for that reversion. Do we have a better figure where that is at or going to be?
Is it two? Mr. Chairman, I believe it's closer to $2 million now.
A million? And so if I understand your comments correctly, the Senate position was to give them both the 2 million and the 8 million.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but we don't really reprofile, reclassify any carry forward appropriations. That's just of the existing money that they had, they are able to use
Right.
those. So we would categorize it more as they had the authorization to reuse 2 million, and then they do have a new appropriation of 8 million.
And just to be clear, the law passed, the session law in 24 based on the budget for the 25-26 biennium did require them to revert those funds. And we just wrote over that.
Yes, in section 303D, sir.
Thank you. Question for Representative Pendergrass.
Thank you. And this may involve some input from Mr. Richards. On the Wyoming Business Council, I'm having trouble seeing how this blends together, the Geringer amendment to fund the year versus the other, the bill that Speaker Nyman brought that would take that entire 54 million, I believe, distribute it to the counties. Can somebody address that?
I'll
Mr. Chair,
I'll
oh, you
let-
want to, Don?
I'll let Director Richards answer that in full, but I'll just say that there's a difference between the BRC funds, which is what 88 went after, and these funds, which are the remaining operational funds for the agency. If you could embellish that. Director
Mr.
Richards.
Chairman, you're exactly correct. The Representative Geringer amendment ends up at about 9.8 million, keeping in mind you already had two there. So it's roughly 11.8 or $12 million available for 1 year of just their partnerships and staffing, no BRC. Then you will see on the bottom of page 4 of the draft you are working off of now, the Senate position took that $54.9 million old money, old BRC money from previous biennia and allow the Business Council to continue to grant those funds out. The House position was the Nyman Amendment, same dollar amount, 54.9 million, and distributed that through the county consensus program.
Mr. Chairman.
Got that. Representative follow-up.
Yes, follow up. Thank you.
Wait, Pendergrass, do you have a follow-up?
I just,
Bottom of page 4 is the answer.
Yes. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, Representative Angelos?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Richards or Ms. Martineau, I know that there's a bill coming over from the Senate in regards to the Business Council, and I'm not going to, explain that there, but can you tell me, is that similar to what the Geringer bill, I think it was HB 150, was that similar where it was 1 year of funding? Will that fall into this at all if it passes?
Ms. Martineau? I think
Mr.
she's describing the Crum bill.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, Representative Angelos, you're describing the Crum Amendment, which is the Wyoming Business Council amendments. It has been laid back, so I don't know when they're going to hear that one next. But my understanding is it would just go ahead and pause everything and essentially just create, I'm just double checking to see if that has been amended out, a task force, if I understood that correctly, that would go ahead and examine this, and it pauses everything for a year while they're doing that work.
Oh, okay. So are we done with page 3? Any other questions, page 3? Okay, let's go on to page 4. Representative Allen. Yes, sir.
Because I'm not understanding why when we moved the money from the Business Council to the Grant Management Office, why we're deleting 2 FTEs, but yet it doesn't show the dollars that we deleted. Can you help me there?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Elmond, it was my understanding that of the $2 million, those partial of that would be used for these positions so that the state budget department could administer the business council's outstanding loans, grants, anything that remained. So what happened was, because we do not authorize positions within the business council, those positions were just given to the state budget department. When the Senate position took away the footnote and the $2 million remains for their operations, we also need to take these 2 positions out because there was no longer any purpose for them, given the JAC's original footnote.
Okay, so the best way to explain that is that we do not handle or we do not govern the 2 positions that the Business Council had.
Yes, and so the money, the $2 million was in the business council. It would be directed to, as the footnote read, to the state budget department. And so those would have been combined. It would have looked very odd for us to have put 2 positions in the business council. And so the determination was made to put those where they were supposed to be, which was in the state budgeting department.
Okay, so they were not deleted from the Grants Management Office?
Mr. Chairman, they were added to the grants management
They were
office
added.
in the
Okay.
JAC position, and then they are removed here by the Senate amendment.
So right now in the Senate position, those 2 positions are not there. But I do want to clarify something, and you might need to close your ears because I don't want to muddy the waters for you. But Director Hibbard, we also moved 2 people in JAC from the Department of Corrections. And I'm assuming that those were taken out in the Senate position as well.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Kevin Haber, Director of the State Budget Department. You're accurate. There's a footnote number 2 under 096 that transfers 2 positions from the Department of Corrections. So the Senate gives us 2 brand new positions, but there is no note that I'm aware of the footnote number 2. I looked for it, but I can't find it. But there's a footnote number 2 that would say transfer 2 vacant unfunded positions from the Department of Corrections to the State Budget Department. But I'm not in harm's way because the position count now is correct. We had 8. You gave 2 for the Grants Management Office transferring from the Department of Corrections, and then you gave 2 from the Business Council, which you just took away. So there's 10. So we still have 2 positions. The question would be, how would you like to handle footnote number 2 in the House in 096?
Mr.
So let me, before you go on, Ms. Martineau, I just want to make sure I clearly understand this. So the Senate position is that those 2 positions from DOC do not exist, but on the House side, they do exist.
The Senate gave us 2 fresh, brand new positions as the GovRec.
Okay, so you had to, and we eliminated and switched them over.
Actually, all you did is change them
Yeah,
from
to
two
DOC.
brand new positions to a transfer from DOC.
That was the JAC position, which was
Correct.
what the House still maintains. And so the only difference between the House and the Senate is the Senate created two new positions, the House transferred two positions.
Correct, that's my understanding.
Mr. Chairman, to correct that, no, we left those two positions in footnote 2 alone. So the Senate position, we took that as a budget hearing request or one of the staff technicals or an agency request. So the Senate amendment left the transfer of two positions from the Department of Corrections to the Department of State Budgeting Department and left footnote 2. All of that remains unchanged from the Senate, from the JAC positions. The only positions that the Senate removed were the two for the Business Council.
Okay.
So
Okay, so-
thank you, Elizabeth. So I'm clear on this is that the Senate did adopt footnote number 2 of the JAC rec to transfer the positions. Thank you.
So the House actually has two more positions because we had transferred.
Mr.
We,
Chairman,
we created two because of the Wyoming Business Council.
Mr.
and we
Chairman,
made-
that is accurate. Yeah.
Okay, so it would be 12 positions on the House side and 10 positions on the Senate side. Both House and Senate are transferring two from Department of Corrections, and the House is adding two positions. Okay. And those two positions the House added were for the Wyoming Business Council work down. Okay. All right. Needed to make sure I understood that very clearly.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Now
okay.
you can open your ears back up there.
Can we
Representative.
please start over? No. There is no deduction under appropriations of any dollars. Whether we added to or took to, would we not have to have an addition or a reduction?
No, Mr. Chairman, Representative Allemand, my understanding is of the $2 million in the Business Council, that is where the funding was going to come from for these positions.
That just helped.
Thank you, sir.
So what happened? We deleted two, or they deleted 2 out of 12. What happened to the other 10?
You're still there.
They're, okay, I don't have to worry about those. Okay, and then the next one is a TRP, and then we go down to guardian ad litem, and that's very explanatory, just footnote number 1, which specified that the office shall change participating counties for the calculated share of the cost of fiscal services provided by the Department of Administration and Information. The next one is just a TRP, and then we go down to Agency 101 and court
Excuse me,
automation.
excuse me,
Yes, sir.
Representative Almond. When you get to 101, I'd like you to make a note to yourself. That is a branch. So
Say,
it's a branch.
oh,
So let's be real clear in our
oh,
language.
okay,
Rather
okay.
than eight, you'll have to switch your wording.
So
from
Board of
agency.
Law examiners.
No, 101 is the Supreme Court.
Oh,
That's-
Supreme Court. Okay,
is-
I was, yeah,
What I'm asking you to do is just adjust your language, not use the word agency,
right,
101.
section,
use the word branch.
yeah, section 101, Supreme Court,
The branch of
Branch.
the Supreme Court.
branch of the Supreme Court. Okay. And
Okay,
all.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Please proceed.
And all that happened there was that they restored the court's recommendation of $1,022,481 for court automation. You want me to go through these, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I just want to make sure you don't have any questions. This is about answering.
Yeah,
questions.
and that's, the next one I actually do have a question on, Agency 102, Board of Law Examiners.
So Representative Alaman, this was for testing for, it's actually
Testing the
psychologists that would be hired for testees that wanted accommodation for longer testing time.
testing accommodations, yeah. And then the next one was for $500 for Word Perfect. And then the rest of them were mainly for infrastructure, in and state, out of travel, overtime, and administration when you get down to the Board of Outfitters. I think I fairly well have a pretty good understanding of this.
I don't even see the $500 here, though.
Remember the word perfect?
I do, but where is it at on the sheet?
I'm sorry, I did a lot of skipping around. It's, agency 103, agency of,
Oh, it's in the TRP.
yeah.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, I just ran through those real quick because I think I have a pretty good
So
understanding.
you're confident in reading all the way to agency 75?
Correct.
Okay.
And then the TRP, I don't have to explain anything on.
No, nothing.
Okay,
No.
thank you.
All right, any other questions on this first half of page 4? Okay, seeing none, Representative Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving on down to the sections 300 and section 305. The Senate's position was to delete section 305 E, which basically removed anytime there was a transfer within an agency using flex authority B11s, that it would no longer show up on their standard or base budget, but it
Okay.
would have to show up as an exception.
Representative Smith?
Mhm.
I know, I mean, I've let this go a little bit long here, but we know you can read these. All of us can read these. We've let
Okay.
that go on. I just want really questions for Ms. Martin now before we do go out and read these for the
Okay.
body.
So at this point, I do not have any questions. I stayed and asked questions last night.
Okay. Are there any other members who have questions? Representative Alaman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to back up to Agency 160, County and Professional Attorneys. The 300,000 that they restored, I'm really not finding that. I find that there was 483,345, but the added 3,000 that they restored to
Okay.
footnote number 1.
Hang on a sec, Representative Alaman. You said Agency 160, which is county and prosecuting attorneys. This is talking not about 300,000, but about 3 million.
Say again, please.
Do you have the right agency?
Yes,
160.
yes.
What is listed here is 3 million, not 300,000.
I'm sorry.
There is 300,000 in the next agency.
Right, right,
06.
right. I looked at that wrong. Okay, so where did that 483,345 come in at? I'm just not understanding the,
Where are you seeing this?
I'll talk to you after we get.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Please.
the 3 million on 160, that was an amendment that I put in asking to, because if you go back to statute, the pay for county attorneys, prosecuting attorneys is at 30 and 50,000, which is, it's been there for 17 years. And so we threw another 3 million into the pot to give them an increase. At first, because they went back to the governor's rec, they took that money out, and then Senator Driscoll put it back in.
Okay, I understand now.
That's what that
That's what
was.
had me confused because it wasn't a governor's recommendation. It was a Pendergraph recommendation. Thank you.
And that Pendergraph amendment was during JAC.
Yes.
Okay. Any follow-up? Representative Alaman? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions on page 4? Well, I do want to remind, we said it during page 3. We talked about that last line for business ready. That was the amendment number 88 for Nyman. And that was your consensus grants, community consensus grants, what that funding is. Okay, moving on. So again, on page 5, Representative Smith, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess one of my only questions is to compare the 111 million for the employee compensation versus the Sherwood. The Senate wants to pay for it out of general funds. Where was the Sherwood?
So I'll be discussing this. It's in the footnotes on your
Severance tax?
goldenrod. I think you have it in my notes here, don't you? Yeah. So I'll be discussing that early on. You can just refer to my comments.
Okay.
But just to go over it real quickly, the sources there are three events that are trying to take the OPSTA funds, which are severance tax. And what the Sherwood Amendment did is it took the OPSTA, put it into the general fund, and then paid the raises out of the general fund. So the other action on OPSTA, this is your 1.5% severance tax, is Senate File 123. It's taking that money and using it for the Energy Dominance Fund, Wyoming Energy Dominance Fund, as well as other functions dealing with the school foundation program. And so there's two different things trying to grab that OPSTA. And what the Senate did is they just took it out of general fund. In the end, there's the conflict of what we're doing with OPSTA. We'll have to work that out in JCC. And if it turns out it's general fund and not OPSTA for the House side, that will be a reduction in the LISRA. It's the only other funding source that will cover that. And so if you look on your goldenrod at your LISRA, on page 1, you can see the difference. In the House, it's 991 million. In the Senate, it's 810 million. Those will virtually be the same. So that'll be the effect if in JCC, we determine that the general fund will be the finance source for that. Clear? Okay, everybody got that? Okay. All right. Any other questions, Representative Smith?
That concludes my questions.
Okay, are there any other questions from the body in regards to related on page 5, related amendments on page 5? Okay, seeing none, Representative Sherwood, take us on home.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have visited with our staff and I have my notes ready. I just have 3 quick questions. On the bottom of page 5, in regards to the school foundation program, the Crago amendment, was there any conversation on the Senate floor that you think would be helpful if I could capture and carry that forward?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Sherwood, no, I recall from that discussion, it really was to make sure that the state share of the entitlement payments were taken care of. And that's how Senator Crago explained it at the time.
Wonderful, thank you. And then same question on the Hicks Amendment in section 300, those budget balancers. Again, I understand it's a policy consideration in terms of moving those transfers to from the PMTF, rather than LISRA, and then same thing with the school foundation program reserved to the program account. But were there any additional conversations on the floor that I should share?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Sherwood, no, it was again a policy choice of where they would rather save the funds or expend the funds versus where they are now. I know there was discussion on the use of those accounts and what is the proper use of the accounts we have. As you know from his other efforts, for example, Senate File 119, he is really trying to streamline those accounts. And so the crux of that discussion was around those kinds of topic.
Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you. I want to back up for just a second to page 5. The 5 million for the shooting complex. Larson, apparently what he did is take out 5 million from general funds and say now they can have that other 2.5 million from tourism and from game and fish. Is that what he was doing?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraft, actually, he is just reverting the general fund that was already authorized. So when this was originally authorized, there was the $2.5 million of the tourism funds, the $2.5 million of the game and fish funds, and $5 million general fund that has just been standing there. And so the Washit and the Larson amendments simply just revert those funds back to the general fund.
So along those lines, Ms. Martinow, did we accomplish that in the JAC as well?
No, Mr. Chairman, the shooting complex was not a part of the JAC position, nor was it a Section 300 in your bill.
I remember last year, when we funded the 10 million, we said we've got to make sure that we revert that. And this is what this is doing.
Mr. Chairman, two separate pots of money. There was an original 10 million that was appropriated from those three funding sources I listed, an additional 10 million out of SIPA, I believe, that was appropriated as well, and that is separate and distinct from this 10 million.
So we got 30 million. I'm losing track now.
Mr. Chairman. Mr.
Representative
Chairman, just to clarify, because I've dove into this, we had 2.5 million of game and fish, Pittman Robertson money, 2.5 million of tourism, 5 million of general funds, and 10 million of SIPA, total of 20 million. 10 million was awarded this last October of SIPA funds, and then in this 5 million have been awarded 2.5 of our tourism and 2.5 of Pittman Robertson. So they have a total of 15 million all in, and the other 5 million revert.
Did we get the reversion from 2024? That's my question. The 10 million that was stranded in the original bill.
Yes, both the House and the Senate in their current version grabbed that 5 million of the 10 million previously appropriated. The only difference on the shooting complex is the Senate or the House has a provision that says that's it. And I'm paraphrasing, but no more. Whereas the Senate does not have that guardrail.
It's a great guardrail. All right. Okay. Representative Sherwood, please continue.
Oh, I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other questions on the unrelated section from anyone? I have a question, and Representative Angelos, you've had a little bit of time to work on this. Agency 67, University of Wyoming endowment and matching $500,000 for specifying funds are for the University Family Residency Program for Rural Medicine Training Track Program in a critical access hospital. Can you share with the body what you've determined on that?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I can. Let me get to my right page here.
Page 5 at the bottom.
Yes, that's page 5 at the bottom. That was the Barlow Amendment. I did go and actually speak with Senator Barlow. That is for a family residency program currently at Thermopolis. And that was a federal program that was cut in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And they are asking for residency. I think there's another hospital he talked about in Johnson County that's looking to do this as well. But that is where they're at, is they don't have the funds to continue those residency programs for those critical access hospitals. That's why he put that in there. It is a match program, 1-to-1. So the rural health transformation, if that does go through, they could use those funds, but this would come out of general funds, and that was his intention.
Okay, and do we know whether the Rural Health Transformation Fund could fund this program without a match?
From what I talked to, I did contact the department. It could if it does go through.
Okay. All right. And is this one effective immediately or in July?
Mr. Chairman, we're double checking that language. I don't recall that it was effective immediately, but there were quite a few amendments on our side as well. Not near as many.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interrupt, if you do find that out, do let us know. I think that was the concern, is that this program has been cut and they don't have the funds right now. So waiting on the rural health transformation might pose a problem for the program.
Okay. Some of this is information that'll be good for JCC. It's not necessarily what we'll share on the floor, but we might get asked these questions on the floor, so.
Mr. Chairman, I do not see that these were effective immediate.
Okay. Director Hibbard, do you know status of the Rural Health Transformation Fund? I've heard all kinds of rumors lately, and maybe you could help the committee understand where we're at on that.
Mr. Chairman, we're aggressively progressing.
So you say we're moving forward. then.
We're moving
We're not going backwards. All right. That is good to know. I guess, if there were some provision in the plan that we have that we got approved by the feds, that the feds aren't happy with, I'm assuming that the award would still continue. It would just have to be without that particular provision. Is that a accurate statement from your perspective?
Mr. Chairman, can you say that again, please?
So if a particular provision and there were many provisions in the initial application, which was approved, and then we received information, we're getting the reward. I'm hearing concerns that maybe certain provisions the federal government may not be as enthusiastic about now. So I'm just curious if there's any provisions that they're not going to approve, we would still get the full award and move forward without that provision. Is that your?
Mr. Chairman, I
understanding?
believe the full award is arbitratable.
Already,
I mean, the full award, we can arbitrate. So maybe there's a provision that they don't like, but they don't just yank it all back. It has to be renegotiated. That's my understanding.
and we have not received those funds yet.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of the transfer the funds as of today.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Committee, are you ready to go out and present this? Okay. Ms. Martinell, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Director Richards, Director Hibbard, appreciate your input. Okay. We are adjourned.